It was Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment, thou shalt not speak ill of any fellow Republican. But in today's political climate and with the stakes so high, that rule is being overlooked.
Donald Trump has zero foreign policy experience. Jeb Bush has no foreign policy experience, period. Ted Cruz has a little bit of foreign policy experience, and it's different than mine.
Governor Kasich, where he led the charge to expand Medicaid and is quite proud of it. I wouldn't be proud of that.
I've spent less money, and then you have other people like Jeb who spent more money than anybody else, and he's down toward the bottom of the pack. I hate to waste time on this guy because he's not going to win.
Can you imagine Donald Trump as President of the United States? We will be worse off than we are now, and we're really bad off right now.
The only way to beat Donald Trump is to highlight the simple truth of his record. It is not conservative.
With 9 days to go before the South Carolina primary, Republicans are sharpening their attacks, and many analysts warn of a political bloodbath before the voting starts. So, Kimberly, people ask, I know they ask you, I'm sure everyone at this table has been asked, why don't you want to run for public office? And my answer is, I always have like some sort of like dodge, but the true answer is, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could attack, and I don't know if I could withstand the attacks.
Yes, you could.
I don't know.
I think so, Dana. Just with the one icy stare that you do in the pen tap, people would just like freeze on the spot. I'm driving at the pen tap.
I know I do.
You frightened bowling. It wasn't. People would be like, "Whoa, I'm dropping out of the race. I don't want none of that Perino after me." Yeah, but look, we all were listening, and when Rubio was doing his thing, we were all kind of like, smile. It wasn't very like forceful. It wasn't necessarily. He's not like an attack dog. More like a sweet little attack hamster.
We have a clip from him last night on Sean Hannity's show that I wanted to show, because he's explaining why he did not go after Christie and Kasich.
I wanted to avoid Republican on Republican violence. I didn't want to be on that debate stage screaming back and forth with another Republican, with Chris Christie at the time. I should have pivoted and talked about his record. But Sean, here's what I think and what I know, that when Republicans are doing this stuff to each other, the Democrats are sitting on the side just cheering. They love it.
Not interested in being out there and just going on the attack against somebody. When people go negative, it's because they got something they're not doing right to connect. And I'd rather be connecting and being positive.
Okay, our commentary was fabulous.
Can I bust you guys? Can I pull a...
Yeah, but start with her.
Okay, so Marco Rubio comes up, that side comes up, and Dana notices appropriately that Marco Rubio has a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, and the three ladies on the set were...
I said nothing.
Oh, I heard it.
No, she was innocent.
Come on.
I was badly behaved. Dana was like, oh, I don't know.
She said, like, she gustos it.
She gustos
it. Me gusta mucho.
Anyway, back to this point at hand. Yes, because don't you have to attack?
I think you need to be true to yourself. And what feels like this is kind of a negative season and everyone's trying to attack like Trump attacks, although Donald Trump has a tendency to counterpunch. But you need to be true to yourself. I think Donald Trump does it well. I think Chris Christie did it well. And I think Ted Cruz does it well, the attack or the counterpunch hard. When Marco Rubio or Jeb or John Kasich try it, it just feels out of place. Jeb and Kasich are nice guys. They're nice people. For them to go on the attack, when Jeb goes on the attack against Trump, it just doesn't feel like he should be doing that. Marco Rubio, it feels like he's out of place when he does it too, because you look at him, you go, he's contemplative. He's a smart guy. You want to hear him say something really super smart rather than the attack. So I think you need to stay true to what your personality is.
Maybe you need to hire like an assassin.
Like literally hire an assassin.
If you can't deliver
the attack. She just said she was too innocent. Now she wants to kill everyone.
Well, I could do it myself.
Oh,
hire Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Clintons have probably hired a few assassins down back in the day. I don't really like seeing...
rumored.
I don't like seeing too much shooting inside the tent, because I don't want to see the nominee limp out of the tent and then get smoked by Hillary. And in South Carolina, it's a jungle. You got some 2 Cubans running. You have some wives situations. You have some divorces. You have some high-profile kids. Anything is fair game out there, so it could get very ugly. Now, Trump, I think, is vulnerable to attack in South Carolina, because Cruz can really come at him from the right. He can say he was for the bailouts. He can say he was pro-Obamacare. And he can hit him with that. Now, I think Donald Trump needs to hone the attack against Cruz and say, listen, forget the Canada stuff. We're not going to worry about that. But this guy is soft on illegal immigration, and he is not for waterboarding. And I think down in South Carolina with all those military guys, that's going to stick.
I think that his strongest argument is the economy. Anywhere. I think Trump's strongest. If you look at the exit polls from New Hampshire and Iowa, that people are just thinking, this is not working for me. my wages haven't gone up, but my costs have gone up. So that would be where I would stick to it, because you're right, on those other ones you might be vulnerable. Kirsten, the Republicans aren't the only ones that have been known to throw some sharp attacks at each other in a South Carolina primary, because it was in 2008 that, can you explain what happened in 2008 with the Clinton-Obama race?
Well, Bill Clinton said some things about Barack Obama that people took to mean that he was saying something racist. I'm not sure that that was totally
might not have been fair,
totally
but it
fair,
happened.
but it was taken that way. And I think that, look, I think there's a difference between making a contrast and going negative. So actually, I didn't have a problem with what Jeb Bush was saying. I mean, he's saying, I think he does have to go after the front runner to a certain extent. And then there are the negative attacks and sort of nasty, legendary kind of attacks that happened in South Carolina. Those are two different things. But also, part of the problem with South Carolina is it happens so fast, right? You have all this time in Iowa, all this time in New Hampshire, and then you go to South Carolina, and you just don't have that much time. People have to be making these contrasts with each other so that people, you know, have a reason to vote for you.
Do you think, Kimberly, that Sanders will finally decide to throw some attack ads towards Hillary Clinton?
Look, I mean, he's done quite well so far. Why wouldn't he? I mean, he's got to, like I said before, he's got to finish her off, you know. I mean, he's got to get in there, and he wants to keep raising money. He did well the other night when he gave his speech and asked everyone, hey, I'm not going to hold, you know, a big, you know, fat cat Wall Street fundraiser. I'm going to do it right here, right now. And I'm asking everybody out there, if you can donate what you can, $20, $50, and the money came rolling in.
$6 million at $37 a pop.
Absolutely.
That is amazing.
That was the average?
And it's the number of donors, of individual donors. He says that he's exceeded the individual number of donors of any person, candidate running for the presidency in the United States. So it's pretty impressive and compelling. And if he wants to actually win, he is going to have to point out the facts about Hillary Clinton.
The other thing that, aside from the candidates attacking each other, and there's going to be a debate on Saturday night, so we'll probably see some of that there, but then behind the scenes, their campaigns, Eric, one of the things that Cruz was attacked for, kind of successfully, maybe a little bit, after Iowa by Donald Trump, was that there was a dirty trick against Carson, and that depressed the vote for others and all that. But so everyone's on notice in South Carolina that, you know, there could be some dirty tricks, including these sort of push polls, where you are called and you're thinking you're doing a normal poll, and then let's say, well, then who are you going to vote for? And if you say Jeb Bush, then like, oh, really? Well, did you know these 20 things about Jeb Bush? And it's called a push poll, considered very negative, but is all fair?
Well, I think
love and war, legal.
And Kirsten points out very importantly. So these candidates spend the better part of a year in Iowa and New Hampshire, just going back and forth between Iowa and New Hampshire. New Hampshire gets in the books, and they turn immediately, and they got 10 days to make it happen in South Carolina. So they do resort to dirty tricks. Also, listen. There's a super PAC out there that's going. It's a Republican. It's a former Mitt Romney deputy campaign staffer who has a super PAC that's explicitly for taking down Donald Trump. Anyone but Donald Trump. It's insane what's going on. You want to talk about violating Reagan's 11th commandment? Boy, that would be it. I just think that's not the way to go. You want to be attack? Go ahead, attack on the debate stage. Go ahead, put up you know, your attack ads on TV. But to go after like this a super PAC, a disinterested super PAC, to go after one within the same GOP, it makes no sense to me.
But Donald Trump today said that conservatives were to blame for everything. So I mean, the 11th commandment, I think, is out the window for everybody at this point.
Well, you know, I don't like, especially when Newt Gingrich, if you remember what he did to Mitt Romney, he went out and called the guy a vulture capitalist.
No, right.
And, you know, all that does is help President Obama. So you don't want to ever attack someone from the left, especially from the far left, because then in the general, you're basically doing the opponent's work for them. And then to going what Jeb Bush is saying, Jeb's been going after Donald Trump for his character and his temperament. Jeb's missed the boat. This country's angry, and they like that about Donald Trump. And now he's saying that Donald Trump's going to be worse than President Obama. It's just not even believable. I mean, this guy's like a dead man walking. He's going to get put out of his misery down there in South Carolina.
He's so smart, and he has such a great record in Florida as governor, the job numbers, all that. That's where he should be staying on. This attack stuff isn't working.
He doesn't wear it well.
Attacking Rubio just looks really gross to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they were buddies. In fact, Jeb was the guy pushing Rubio for Senate, and now all of a sudden he's attacking him, saying he hasn't done it.
Yeah, and he's saying he's soft on illegal immigration. Jeb's soft on illegal immigration.
Last word from
Can I
Kimberly.
just say one last thing? On the sports field, whenever this stuff is going on, you just show the scoreboard. You don't trash talk if you're losing.
Yeah.
Just show the scoreboard.
Yeah, but there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it by talking about your experience and your specifics. And somebody like Jeb, who does have considerable experience, okay, and does have the endorsements of how many 34 generals and how many prior Medal of Honor winners, recipients. So focus on all those positives, because the other people can't put that in their column. What do you have in your column, in your asset, line that shows everybody why you should be chosen? So I think you can do that in a nice way, which is still statesmanlike and becoming of the office of the, the highest office in the land.
And he's got W down there now, too.
Hey,
yeah, but of course, the person who does the most trash talking is winning. Right.
Because he wears it well. Because he wears like a well-tailored suit on him. Whereas on Jeb and John Kasich.
Well, Jeb's
has
fought
thrown
back
the towel
against Trump, which he should. You can't just sit there and okay, turn the other cheek. You do it once, that's it, and that's enough for me. Now I'm going to hit you.